Good morning, everybody. Good morning to Chris.
Good morning.
Fantastic. Chris, unbelievable what you've done today. So if you could show to the great British public.
Ta-da!
Fantastic. 2 minors.
Yes.
Absolutely brilliant drive. Look, having 2 minors, it's like a perfect drive because it's not easy to have a 0 minor. And especially because you had history a couple of years back with your fiascos during the driving test. But if you could explain it from the beginning to the next candidate, how to pick the driving instructor. And also just a quick note, this is the first test when we could be together on the driving test because they opened everything, so lifted, and I was very pleased to see the behind you. So Chris, how was it?
Today was brilliant. I was so expecting. I came into this so nervous and I was so worried I wasn't going to get the pass, but fortunately everything worked out. But the only reason why I say that is because I come from like my previous driving instructor was not great. I kind of didn't ever make that connection with them. We never clicked, and every time I asked them something, it was always like, you should know this, rather than explaining. I was always belittled and put down, and it didn't really give me a lot of confidence with driving. And when they said I was ready for the test, I knew deep down I wasn't ready, but because I was paying them the money, I trusted them. I assumed,
of course, it's based on trust. Yes.
I assumed I must be ready, but unfortunately not. I failed, and I've never told you this before, but I took the test twice with that instructor. Failed twice, literally weeks apart. Failed twice in a row. So I felt very defeated. Pointed the fingers towards myself. Said it must be me. Driving's not for me. Put it on the back burner for a few years, and then at the end of last year decided, no, now is the time, let's figure this out, let's find a good driving instructor. Found yourself, and instantly there was that click. Everything felt great. If I had a question, it wasn't put down. Everything was answered in a very professional but very friendly way. And it never felt like I was asking a stupid question, which was great.
There's no stupid question.
And yeah, we finally got the pass. And going into this, I felt ready.
Confident.
Whereas before I didn't feel ready, but I felt ready this time. So
we did a couple of mock tests as well because they were very, very important. When we met, I always say to the candidates, you don't need to commit yourself for the first lesson. Go home, think about it, sleep a couple and shop around. What you explained to me, when you went for the driving test, you even couldn't practice, you couldn't warm up because the instructor said to you, I drive you to the test center, then we swap the seat, and then you take the test. That's totally the opposite what we should be doing it, because it's a warm-up session, at least 1.5 hour driving. So that moment I knew you've been treated very, very extremely badly, rather prepared for fail.
yes, yeah, unfortunately I wasn't allowed to drive before my test, so I literally sat in the driver's seat as soon as I was about to take my test. And
actually you didn't have any touch before the test. That's absolutely rubbish. Sorry for saying it, but we're not going to say any names because I don't even know the person. How was the test? What was the key moment? I was sitting there, so I was enjoying it, but for you?
Yeah, I felt obviously very nervous, but was able to contain that. But I felt in control. We did the test at 8 in the morning, so it was starting to become rush hour, and there were loads of people out on the streets. So there were a lot of things to manoeuvre. My eyes were looking everywhere.
Quite challenging, I have to say.
Yeah, it was very challenging. I felt like I was looking in every direction possible. There were a few hiccups, which resulted in a few minors.
2 minors. Look, that's nothing. Absolutely. So don't feel bad about it.
Yeah, I can live with the 2
yes,
minors.
Of course.
I can live with those.
Lovely. And how was the examiner?
It was great. Yeah, really nice. He was great because he was chatting at the safe and responsible moments, like when we were in traffic. Then we'd have a chat, and when we were driving and manoeuvring, he stayed quiet, which was absolutely perfect because I didn't want him to become a distraction.
Yes, absolutely.
Which he didn't, fortunately.
Lovely. And as you were coming out of the driving test, he was immediately at the first junction helping you because it was a huge traffic, and from the left somebody was helping, and you were looking mainly to the right, and he said, be safe from the left hand side because people are helping. That immediately put you on ease. He's a good guy, he's helping me, he's not looking for making sure you're failing your test.
Yes, coming into the test, I assumed the examiner was going to be this really big, scary person who was trying to get the most fails they could in the day.
Intimidating.
But no, they were absolutely lovely. Couldn't have been more helpful, and
beautiful.
Yeah, great experience.
Lovely. If you could, for instance, give an advice to one of your friends if they're going for driving lessons, how they need to pick up the guy and what key moment, what, bullet points they need to check from the instructor?
Yeah, so first of all, comparing yourself to my previous driving instructor, like make sure you have that connection. That's always probably going to be my biggest advice now. Because I didn't have that click with the first instructor, I just assumed they would know what they were doing and trusted that my instinct was wrong. But I'd say the best advice is trust your instinct. If it doesn't feel right, find somebody else, regardless of who they are. And yeah, just completely trust the process and believe you found the right person if you get that feeling.
Lovely. When we done the mock tests, your level of focus, it was like, I never seen it before. I've been in this industry 13, 40 years teaching people, and your level of concentration was totally, unbelievably the top standard.
Thank you.
So like you were living in a total different way, but just in the traffic in this zone, and it was fantastic. Is it because Chris is a very famous video maker?
Yeah.
So it's very important. So you're going to see his production in BBC, other televisions as well, because he is a very, very talented young gentleman. And is this level of focus, I was thinking, could be because when you look through the camera, through the lens, you are in a different world. And is this what you experience here as well? Because it was just, honestly, I couldn't take my eyes off from you, how focused you were.
Oh, thank you very much. Yeah, I definitely think that does stem from my work, to be honest, because I have to be so focused. But to be honest, as I was driving, I was just making sure that I was paying attention to what was happening around me rather than what the car was doing. And I think that kind of helps when you forget what the car's doing and you just think about everything else. You kind of, that's all you're interested in. That's all you can focus on. So yeah, I guess the career that I've chosen, the job that I have helps, but I definitely think just being completely comfortable with the car really does help as well.
Of course, if you don't need to think about the car because you're doing the controls kind of subconsciously, then your brain, we had lessons about planning anticipation, which was very, very good, and it's my favorite subject because it's changing your driving side. You never heard before those things, how much we need to do observation and scanning. So fantastic. What would you say to the next candidate who is going to take the test, for instance, tomorrow?
Yes, so first of all, just don't build it up to be such a massive, scary, intimidating process. It's so tempting to spend the entire night before just cramming in as much information as you can, but honestly, as long as you've put in the hours, trust Zsolt, trust his process, and honestly, it will all be fine on the day, as long as you're focused and don't distract yourself or anything on the day. But yeah.
Lovely. Thank you very much for choosing me, and I wish you a happy freedom.
Thank you very much.
Because now you can visit your clients with your car, you can take your gears with you, you don't need to ask a favor or take a train, so your life changed massively.
Yes.
And congratulations to your engagement, because your wedding is coming around very soon. So one more time.
Thank you.
Well done.
Thank you.
You deserved
very
it.
much.
Thank you, and best of luck to the next one.